makes you think you deserve it.
When you've been working since you were 13, promise mom by everything. Burn so often, fire talking, scars so dark they fill your dreams. Nightmares to the young and clean, life will rain for some it seems. Pray for days when heaven stays, but you ain't put no work in for the crown. You ain't put no work in for the crown.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Unplugging Podcast, episode 7. Today we're going to talk about a lot of things. Leo, what things are we talking about?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 7. Alright, today we're going to be talking more about what men need to stop doing in order to become better in the dating market. Okay, so we got a lot of topics here, but it's part 1. Okay, it's part 1. So we are going to break this down into multiple pieces here. And thank you guys for joining in the chat here. All right, we have YouTube and we have Instagram Live on right now and such. And I do have the Discord open. We have the Discord kind of open here and such. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time. And I think I'll make a few little jokes here and there. But overall, more objective facts here. We're going to pull up some studies here just to kind of back up all the claims that we're making and such, okay? So, as always, with the unplugging, our goal, as always, is to make sure that both men and women are improving in the sexual marketplace, okay? You have to understand your values, you have to be pragmatic, you have to take everything for the what is, not the what should be, or the what if. We can't operate that way, okay? So with that said, let's get started over here and such, okay? So I've narrowed this down to about 6 different topics here. The first topic here, in which I want to say, Dr. Cervantes, all right, we appreciate you joining in once again, all right? So we'll definitely have some studies here waiting for you guys. I did the introduction here, so sit back, enjoy, have some popcorn, your favorite drink, and we'll be rock and rolling here, okay? So the first topic I want to talk about here, okay, when it comes to the men's side, this is going to be more for the men, maybe a little bit for the ladies, but it's going to be mostly for the men, okay? Number 1, okay, that I have on my list is, gentlemen, stop complaining about female hypergamy. What do I mean by that? For those who have not maybe watched episode 1, 2, 3, and so on, all right? Female hypergamy at the end of the day is women want the best option. They're going to be very selective. It's a security feature. It's not a bug. It's not a glitch. It is a feature women have to protect themselves moving forward when they're mate selecting for a potential partner, for someone who's going to be the father of their children, to make sure they are taken care of along with the child, all right? So that is one thing I need to get out of the way when it comes to that. I know we talked a little bit about female hypergamy with our previous episodes, but these are things that we need to kind of clear up, okay? Because I can't stand when I'm talking to a friend or anybody else for the matter, or if we get some comments or if we get some Instagram messages regarding, well, I don't like the fact that she's looking at a guy, or she wants this, she wants that. Why do I always have to smell good? Why do I always have to dress up appropriately? It's female hypergamy. And at the end of the day, what I always say is if a woman starts looking around, or if she starts mentally checking out, or if she just starts doing things in the relationship she's not supposed to be doing, guess what, gentlemen? It's your fault. It is your fault. It's not the woman's fault. Because at the end of the day, if she doesn't look at you like you are her leader, you are the rock she's going to lean on, you are the one who she looks up to, if you're not her giant, it's a waste of time. She's going to check out. She's absolutely going to check out. So kind of knowing the definition a little bit more on that, that's going to be the big thing. The other thing we need to kind of cover on that is men have to be more competent, okay? Women like competent men, as always. And we've already pulled up this study regarding what women want. And that's another thing. Competency, when it comes to the dating market, male competency also has to do with you understanding women to a degree, okay? I'm not saying that, oh, well, you have to know what her favorite color is or what type of shows she watches. No, women are different when it comes to that aspect. When it comes to the minuscule stuff, things in which we can kind of go through and work our way through when it comes to what their likes are and what our likes are, that's a completely different thing. What I'm talking about is understanding that women are very selective. They want the best men they can possibly get. And if you aren't someone who is giving them a challenge, you're already losing the battle already. Because the other thing here, I wasn't going to bring this up, but when it comes to you guys going on dates with these girls, you have to stop making it very easy for women to have access to your attention, to your validation, to fun time and intimacy. You have to stop making it very easy for them, all right? Women want and they need challenge. They're not going to tell you this. They're going to tell you, oh, well, I want attention, I want validation, the man should just give it to me. You have to understand that these are competency tests, okay? Competency tests are tests in which women give to men all the time, whether it's on a date, multiple dates, courtship, a long-term relationship, an LTR. It's going to be given in multiple scenarios. Even when you're elderly, women will still do this. They do it way more, actually, when they feel that they are not confident with you. When they feel like, okay, I don't think this guy is a big leader. I don't think I can follow him. I don't think he's the rock I can lean on. They will challenge you even more when you are not living up to the potential you are supposed to sell to them, okay? Remember, women sell purity. It is their commodity. They need to be able to sell purity. If they cannot sell that, they have to sell other things. They have to sell that they know how to respect their man. They have to sell that they can keep their man. And they have to sell that they can let the man lead. There are other things they need to sell. But purity is the number one principle when it comes to their commodity. They are the arbiters when deciding if they're going to give up their purity to a man or not. But when it comes to men, okay, our commodity is selling our potential to be her best option when it comes to providing, giving security, protecting her. These are things I've mentioned in a bunch of other videos. So our commodities are different. You have to understand that as the man. Men and women are not the same. We value things differently. We take in things differently. Biology is different. Our chemistry is different. How we perceive things in a prudent fashion is different. Everything is different. That's another thing when it comes to competency. Men and women are not the same, and we're definitely not equal. That is going to be something I'm going to explain in a future video, all right? So kind of moving on from that as well. The intelligence part. We've already talked about that with one of our other studies that we've posted up, okay? Even though with that study, Chris, we talked about that where intelligence didn't seem like it was a prime factor when it comes to female hypergamy.
Yeah.
Personally, just me, on a side note, and not to say that I disagree with it, but the competency is a big thing. Because if a woman wants to look for a man who is a high earner, who can take care of himself, who owns businesses, other women want to be with him, other women want to be with him, and men want to be him, you kind of have to know what you're doing to get there, right? It doesn't just happen with the snap of your fingers. You got to know what you're doing. That's competency. You got to have a plan. You got to know how to get from step A, B, C, and D, and not just skip from A to Z. There's a process in which it all goes through. So you as a man, the competency is understanding that as well. The fact of the matter is also, I was going to say this in one of my later points, we have to understand women to a certain degree. And quite frankly, I'm just going to say, this isn't an attack on women, but women can afford to not really understand men. And we're not going to hold them accountable for it. Personally, me, I would hold them accountable for it. Because I do want a woman to just get it. I do want a woman to just say, okay, I know what this man wants. I know idealistically, biologically hardwired, I know what he wants. I know what he's looking for. And I know how men vet. Okay? He's trying to vet me. Women will know. I guarantee you, women will know when they are being seriously vetted. They know. You just gotta ask the right questions. If we've already asked those questions, it was on our third video, how to survive the vetting process. These are a lot of questions that men are gonna ask, and women are gonna know right off rip. They're trying to be taken serious. But women know also when they're just not being taken serious. To a degree, I would say. I wouldn't even argue with that topic. It's like, well, I think there are women who, they know when they're not really being taken serious, but they look at a silver lining and they're fine being in their recreational use only, which I don't agree with. But they do it anyway because at the end of the day, women want commitment. They do want commitment. They don't want to be just have a fun time, then toss it aside by a bunch of guys. They really don't want that because that's how unhappiness rises. That's where SSRIs come in. That's where women start going on more drugs and antidepressants, and they start feeling more disgusting because they're sharing their body with a whole bunch of partners, guys who they genuinely don't like, or they know genuinely that they're not going to give them a commitment. That's how it all happens, and we're definitely going to talk about that a little bit more and such. So just kind of coming off that, again, competency is a big thing. Be direct. Be very direct. So part of the competency also is, if you're already sounding like you don't know what you want when you're approaching a woman, and you just sound iffy, you look like you have like a giant question mark on top of your head, you're already destroying yourself. Already destroying yourself. And then the woman's going to think that you don't have options. Women are more attracted, believe it or not, they are more attracted to men who have options. They really are, okay? I know you're going to hear women saying, well, I don't like when my man, a bunch of girls are talking to him, he's getting all this attention from a bunch of girls. It's nonsense. That's why they still chase the top 10 to 15%, right? And all those guys, girls are throwing themselves on them every single time. Even some guys who are above average, and women see some value. Ladies, this is for you now. You gotta understand, and I said this in my second or first video, if a man is high value, or even above average, where he's kind of he's like a big fish in a small pond type of style, you're gonna go after him. Women are gonna compete for that. They're gonna try to compete for the male's attention. They're gonna try to compete for his resources, his security, his protection, his future. They're going to compete for that. So we don't buy this whole thing about, oh, well, I don't like when my guy is being, thirsted by a bunch of girls. You don't care about that. You really don't, because at the end of the day, if he's the best option, and it's social proof, if he's the best option, you're gonna do whatever you can to try to lock the guy down. Doesn't matter if a whole bunch of other girls are trying, because at the end of the day, they want the same thing. You guys don't look at each other and say, why are you chasing this guy? You know why you're chasing that guy. You know exactly why. Because he stands out in front of the crowd. He is the big fish in a small pond, or maybe he's probably one of the fewer fish in a medium-sized pond or a bigger pond. But you're not gonna go after the small fry, you're gonna go after the big fish. So let's just be realistic about that. And the goal here, of course, with the unplugging is to ensure that the men who are not the big fish do become bigger fish. All right? That's gonna be one of our goals here. That's always been our goal, okay? So again, gentlemen, understand that women, they're gonna do their best to not settle. They don't wanna settle, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And another one of my points too, I don't know if I'm gonna get to this today, maybe it might be somewhere else, but don't be a guy. Don't be a guy who the woman settles for. And what do I mean by that, really quick? You guys gotta understand how mate selecting works as well. I'm gonna go over in a future video on how to do better with mate selecting. But just understand, if you are not the guy who she pines for, if you are not the giant, the leader, the one who she sees a future with, or says, no, I want this man's kids, and she says instead, he'll do, he's all right, he's kind of cute, yes, he's not the guy, he's a guy, but he has a few redeeming qualities. Don't be that guy. Don't be the guy the girl settles for, all right? I'm dead serious with that. Like, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I'm dead serious. Don't be the guy, a guy who a woman settles for. All right, that's gonna kind of wrap up my first point here. All right, spinning plates. Actually, I wanted to talk about that. Spin plates, guys. Okay, what spinning plates means again is you're dating. Okay, you're not just dating one girl. You're dating like 1, 2, possibly 3. I wouldn't go past that. And you're making yourself scarce. Okay, you're trying to see which girl kind of rises to the top. Okay, the cream will kind of rise to the top there. And it gives you experience. It's not cheating, okay? So I know there are gonna be some guys and girls saying, oh, that's cheating. It's not cheating. Girls do the same exact thing, all right?
Yeah, just keep it honest,
Yeah, just be honest with yourselves, all right? So it's, men have to spin plates. Women do it all the time, but again, when a woman sees that a man has no options, believe it or not, it does show weakness. It does show weakness to the woman, because now that she sees that you're putting a lot of attention, a lot of effort, and you're not even giving her a challenge, she knows you don't have much to work with, and in her mind, okay, she considers that a weakness, all right? So just giving you it straight, just like that, just giving it to you straight. Women don't like weak men. We've shown a study already in which explains that women want masculine men. And they want men who have high potential. But social proof is a big deal. It is a very, very big deal. I've already explained that men don't look for social proof. They don't look for social proof with women. It's women who need social proof. Because again, it's security. It makes sure that whoever they get with is their best option. And for that, they need social proof from the guys. All right, so just remember that. That pretty much concludes point number 1 there. All right. So we're looking pretty good. We're starting off pretty strong here. All right. Moving on to point number 2. This one, as Peter Griffin would say, really grinds my gears. All right. This one really grinds my gears. Oh, really quick, just to go on the Instagram. So Sophia, thanks for joining. Daniel, all right, very good. Jose, very good. Jill, thanks for joining. Alberto, very good. All right, we're getting some people in here. And Papo, thank you for joining. It's all good, my man, all good. Just another day in the paradise of just trying to build some fruit here for labor and such, and just trying to nourish it. All right, just trying to grow in the world, just trying to make a brand and help people out, give back to the community. So we appreciate you guys always with that support, okay? Like, comment, sub, and subscribe, the sub and subscribe, that's the same thing, subscribe, right? Nice. Okay, so going on to point number 2. This is the one that really grinds my gears. Like, the first one was already grinding my gears, but this one in particular really does. Stop following women who you don't know on social media. Stop following women who you don't know on social media. Stop following women who you don't know on social media. Okay? Like I've already talked about from even our past videos, women's delusions and their options are totally exacerbated. And social media, we can blame social media, but at the end of the day, it's people who are to blame. You guys, you gentlemen, you are exacerbating. You are exacerbating the options in which females, women, kind of don't deserve for the most part. You're exacerbating their mediocre behavior. You're exacerbating delusion, which we don't need that from them. We just don't need that from them. So all you guys, the gentlemen, who are going on dates, and when you see a girl on her phone constantly checking her phone to see if there are people messaging her, following her, chatting with her to see if she could be a sugar baby, if she's talking to a sugar daddy, she has all these websites. Gentlemen, stop feeding into that. Stop that. You guys want to be the guy when you go on dates? You want to be the guy, or maybe a good guy, at least, or just a guy you know, and you want her to give you her undivided attention? Stop following random girls who you don't know, because you are ruining it for yourselves. You really are, because their attention's everywhere. They're hardly paying attention to you. Even if they're not on their phones, they're in their minds thinking, oh, I wonder if this guy's gonna message me. Oh, this one other guy who I was hanging out with, who I met through social media, on a dating app, that date was kind of nice. I think I'll hit him up later on. That's what goes through their minds. That is what goes through their minds. But you have to stop doing that. Do me a big favor, okay? Do me a big favor. When we are done, or while we are doing this, okay, go on your phones, unfollow every single girl who you do not know. That means, for you gentlemen, when you go to your little search, and I see guys doing this, when you're going on your search, and I'm seeing all these pictures of women who are in bikinis, almost completely naked, whatnot, I know what you're doing. Okay? And when I go to your friends list, okay, and I see a whole bunch of girls, and I know it, you don't know who they are. And I really hope, and this is for my friend circle, and this is for our friend circle, my business partner Chris and our circle here, okay? And friends at the gym, family members, I really hope, I really hope that you are one of those gentlemen who's following random chicks who you do not know on social media. I really hope you're not, because you know you're not getting anything for them. Why are you giving them free attention and validation? And I hope you're not messaging them or commenting on them. You're getting thirst trapped on purpose. These girls understand. They know that you are not a real option for them. They know that. They will never message you back. They're not going to pay attention to the little comment that you threw on there. They're not going to go through all their comments and all their friends that all the guys are following them and select you and be like, you know, I'm going to talk to this guy. And even if she does, like, you're still not getting anything. Unless you're paying for her to fly out somewhere, then yeah, obviously she's going to give you time and attention. But at that point, you're just an ATM for her. You're just an ATM. So, like, gentlemen, please, like, work with us here, okay? Work with us here. You guys want to have a better chance in the marketplace? Stop following women who you don't know, okay? Because if you're ruining it for yourselves and everybody else. And this is where I want to pull up one of our studies. All right, Chris, this is what I want to pull up. So we're gonna pull up this study here. It's the study on social media. Who's using social media a whole bunch more? Okay, and there's different platforms. I kind of want to get in on this one.
It's not the ones that I got first, or did you tell me to?
Yeah, it's one of the ones we talked about. Right. So while Chris is looking things up here, so guys, for the ones who are on Instagram, okay, we're logging off here. We're about to just stream on YouTube here. Please go ahead and join us here. Like, comment, and subscribe. You know what it is. And then we'll definitely see you guys, if not on YouTube, but for sure Thursday for episode number 8. Signing out here. All right, we'll see you guys soon.
What is it called again?
Let's see. It's called... It's on the WhatsApp that I messaged you on. It's who uses social media more, some or other, or what platforms social media is being used. There was a 5th one here. Yeah, we're gonna definitely go over these studies.
I mean, these are the 5 right now that you told me to get.
Oh, not that one. Not that one. The attractive women want it all. Not that one.
No, you didn't tell me this one.
We're not that one. Not that one. Yeah. The one I'm looking for is the OkCupid study. I definitely want to. We kind of went over that one already, but I will look at that one more time here.
Personality.
Who is more active on social media is what it's called.
All right, I'll bring it up. Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah.
You keep going meanwhile.
Yeah. So again, guys, like while we're doing this, like unfollow them. Okay. You guys again want to have a better chance in the dating marketplace. Stop ruining it for yourselves. This is how you're ruining it. Okay? When we have modern conveniences, this is kind of what happens. When we just give power for no reason.
All right.
Absolutely no reason. Okay? There was a comment, I think, that was made here. Can we pull that up, actually, before I get onto this?
The comment?
Yeah, there was a comment that was made here. In our chat.
Let me see.
In our chat here. Let's see. Don't follow women you don't know on social media. My man. You're speaking my language here. You're speaking my language, and I hope you're not one of those guys, man. If so, you know, just unfollow them. Please just unfollow them. Like, right. You're hearing it here, guys, okay? From the Unplugging, stop following women who you don't know on social media. You're not getting anything. Instead, you could be using that time to make yourself more competent, understanding women, instead of getting thirst trapped by women, all right? So this is the study that we were going to pull up here, all right? So here it is. Who is more active on social media? So this one is a little bit more on who uses what social media platform a little bit more. So we kind of already have it. Chris is kind of zooming in on here. So I've done the work already. We've highlighted some things here. The first highlight here, females use social media less than men for business reasons. Okay? So as you know, when you guys, this one's pretty obvious, all right? Like when you see girls go on like trips or vacations or when they're family events and they're taking a plethora, multitudes of pictures and different angles and such, that's, women use social media to fabricate status. When men gain status, us using social media for business reasons, so we can network, so we can connect, and start having more opportunities to make money, that's how we build status. But for the most part, when it comes to this particular thing, in general, not all women, of course, but in general, women usually use social media just to build a fabricated status. And it's basically just showing off where they went, the trips, the friends who they hang out with, when they're having a good time somewhere. That's that's what they really use it for. And if we kind of scroll down here a little bit more with what we're going with, right? I've highlighted some more things here. We can kind of go down here. And right here, what I've highlighted in yellow, and this one, the purple's already highlighted in general. And in general, females use social networking sites to make connections and stay in touch with family or friends. The connections is mostly just with families and friends, but now it's going to be a little bit more with just like if we're doing possibly OnlyFans or anything like that, so they can start getting a little bit more and such. Like I said, there are some women who will use these types of platforms to generate actual business. There are. Okay, I'm not saying they're not. I've already said that. Men, by contrast, use social media to gather the information they need to build influence. Social media helps them perform research, gather relevant context, and ultimately increase their status, as I mentioned before, okay? There's a different social construct here that's made by social media. And if we kind of just look at what's highlighted in purple, men and women have varying degrees of online activity across different sites. 74% of internet users are using social media, with women 76%. And having a slight edge over men, 72%. So in general, women use social media way more. Not way more, it's 4%. It's not a huge difference, but definitely we gotta understand that women are on social media because we know the reasons as explained. And kind of going down here to see what platforms they're using, not this one, going down a little bit more. This is the one I want to show before we log off on this one. So we can kind of see right here, the ones that are highlighted, we see who uses what more. All right.
Yeah.
So again, this is involving competency for men. Okay. You gotta know what they're into. All right. So we can see already with the female users, they're using more Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and Snapchat. Of course, with Snapchat being a big thing, and Instagram and Facebook, it's mostly just for them to post a lot of selfies, pictures of them going places. These are the main platforms in which women use to show off their life, okay? To just show off their little lifestyles and to fabricate status. This is status for women when they show off to each other. Oh, look, I went to China, I went to Russia, I went to this and that. So other women start getting a little envious and start competing against each other a little bit more. So they start going out more and fabricating status. Well, hey, I'm drinking, having so much fun. This is kind of how incognito women start to compete each other when it comes to status, all right? At least in this aspect. And then on the right, you can see with the male users, they don't use it as much. And even if they do use it, again, the majority is for connections and businesses.
Yeah, it's more for information. Right?
Yeah, and then
To
down here.
LinkedIn, to connect, this is just, politics and information, Twitter.
Yeah, and down there, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you can see, I didn't highlight this one because I just wanted it to be a little bit more to see what the grand scale of the difference is here. So we can see 52%, 54, and 55 for Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. It's mostly used by men because it's more promotional stuff. It's more for them to kind of build themselves. So we're done with this one here. We can minimize that one and such. So now again, understanding the social constructs. All right. Now we know what we have to do to improve the dating marketplace, at least in that aspect. Gentlemen, you know what to do. All right. Stop following random girls who you don't know, and then we kind of improve from there. So we pulled up that study, and because of this, here's another thing, and I think I've already brought this up from a previous episode. We understand the flake rate for women on dates is 50 to 73%. All right, there are some studies on that one as well. So knowing that, why do they flake? Why do they flake 50 to 73% of the time? We can think of a whole bunch of reasons here, and this is going off more empirical data, a little bit more anecdotally. We can think about this. Number one reason, of course, because girls have too many options. They have too many options to work with. So they're constantly looking at themselves in the mirror for the most part, even asking their friends, who should I go on a date with? Should I have this guy as a foodie call? Should I go to Spares, bowling with this guy? And they kind of plan already on what they're going to do. At 7 o'clock, I'll go out to dinner with this guy, 8 o'clock bowling with this guy, this and that. They do that, gentlemen. The cold hard reality, they do that. Yes, they do that. And it is on you because you are giving them too many options to work with. It's that simple. Whereas if you gave them a challenge and women had to be within their demographics for the most part and maybe have not so much access to social media, they'll be better. They will be better with you, and on top of that, the interaction will be better. Like, there are some girls that I've noticed, even women, girls and women, just women in general, but like, when you go up to them, some of them might be shocked that a man organically went up to them to ask them out. Some of them look shocked, flabbergasted. And it's just like, what's the matter? You never had a guy come up to you before to ask you out? What is this? Seriously, what is this? That's happened to me before also, where it's like, I'm just asking you out to have lunch? Get to know you? Yeah, but some of them just look like, like they're scrambling around, like, oh, what's the matter? You know, so that's not good. That's not good. That's really, really not good. Like, it shouldn't be. I get that with the technology, it's very, very easy. I get it. Okay, and then men kind of augment the experience as well on that. All right, when men find ways to augment their experience and not even try to learn about women, this is kind of what happens too. Now you guys have yourselves isolated from the market because you guys become more introverted. You guys become a little bit more, not shady, but you make yourself very, very weird and unorthodox to women when you're approaching them because you just don't understand them enough, because you haven't approached them enough. You have to gain some experience. You have to throw yourselves in the fire. That's why I say you gotta spin plates. Spin plates. There's nothing wrong with that. You're gonna gain some experience doing that. All right. So, and as I mentioned before, when it comes to even the OkCupid study, we talked about that one. So we can pull up the OkCupid study now. Actually, you have that pulled up already, Chris. That's gonna be something to go with. The flake rate, as I've already mentioned, is between 50 to 70%, 73, somewhere around there. I'm going to get to your comment here or question real soon. With the OkCupid, I've done the work again. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I think we've shown this one sometime in the past, like episode 1 or 2. This one's a relatively old one. But this survey, this study in particular, it's back in 2009. Can you scroll up, Chris? I think this one's a 2009 study. 2009, November 18th of 2009. Yeah. So it's a relatively old one. And a lot of information.
But it's true, though, you know?
Yeah, but this information is so old, and it's one of those where
it's still true.
But it was deleted. Like most of the information was deleted.
Delete all that shit.
They don't want to put women in a bad light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think we need to stop doing that because again, like we're hiding truthful, objective information so that way everybody can do better. I don't see what's wrong. Quite frankly, I don't see what's wrong with men understanding women. But when this happens, when we're trying to put everything in an incognito fashion, we're hiding truth, objective fact, and science and statistics to help men become better, so that way women have better options and more options because the volume increases. What are we doing, guys? Seriously. Ladies, this is for you now. You're going to tell me that you're sick and tired of settling for guys you really don't like? You're really going to sit here and constantly fight tooth and nail for one guy who's probably not going to take you serious, or maybe he's a good guy and he gives all his time, and then now you're looking at all these other guys who aren't high value and they don't understand women, at least at the very least, the bare minimum, that they just don't understand women. You can't sit here and tell me this. I'm not going to be convinced. You want a man who gets it. Even if he's not a super duper high value man, but he has, again, he sells potential, and he's not playing this fake it till you make it type of mentality, and you see that, you guys are winning. You're winning because men are more knowledgeable. Men have to know what they're doing. Females, not really. You guys can afford to not really know what you're doing. Because again, like, men lead. They're going to lead the dates. They're going to lead most of the decisions, making sure that you're safe. I said this in the last episode when we had Julie. Our goal is to make sure that we make it very easy for you guys. Just look pretty. Be on your best behavior. Let us lead. Be feminine. It's easy. The burden of performance is on us. So that is what our job is to make it easy for you guys. Help us make it easy for you guys when you're on dates. Like, you want to make it easy. You want to be like, okay, this man is treating me like he's a gentleman. He's taking me places. I'm having fun. Have fun. But you got to help us out with that too, you know? Definitely help us out. So kind of moving forward with that, just adding on to the 50 to 70% of the flake rate, we can see just highlighted here, all right? On these types of sites, the dating sites, men tend to be more generous when it comes to mate selecting, at least social media-wise, dating-wise, right? can see on the female side, they're very harsh when it comes to, at least this says that they're being harsh. I don't think it's harsh at all. They're just selective. Women are selective, and they have to be. They have to be selective. Then you have to understand that. And kind of going on the second highlight here, just below the graph for Chris here, women, on the other hand, are harsh with their ratings. According to the study, they rate a whopping 80% of men on the site as below average. Below average. Like, if you're not even mediocre status, what does that tell you? Like, you have to be somewhat mediocre in a way, and then even have some fake it till you make it type of stuff to even make it with these types of girls. That's how bad it is. But we're trying to get you guys out of this 80%. Get it out, lower it to 70, lower it to 60. Like, that's already a good significant impact on the dating market, because we know that online dating is the number one way for dating right now. It really is.
It is.
So why don't we capitalize off this? Why don't we try? And I know, like, that there's some ways you can make yourself look attractive with pictures. I think there are some videos also online on how you can make yourself look more attractive with, like, shading and go to certain places, make it look like you have, like, this lifestyle that women want. There are ways you can do that, but that kind of plays into the whole fake it till you make it kind of thing. But again, if for gentlemen, if you're able to sell potential and it's real, women will invest. They will invest, but they are the ones who decide. They are the ones who decide if you do have the potential. All right, so keep that in mind. So we're kind of done with this one here. This one's pretty self-explanatory, nothing too crazy. And you gotta also understand, us men. Oh, let's go on to like a little comment here and such. Dr. Cervantes, what do you got here? How about female streamers? You know the thing about female streamers?
It's wasting of time too.
What most female streamers do, not all, they objectify themselves. And there's something in the manosphere where the only way men can objectify women is if they objectify themselves first. So when they start dressing a certain way, they're not even gaming, like on Twitch and such. They're just having a general chat, and the chat's like telling them to put on certain clothing and do this and do that. They're objectifying themselves. And women hate to be objectified. But if you hate being objectified, why are you doing it? This isn't for everybody, but like, women have to understand when the only way a man can objectify you is if you objectify yourself first. That's the cold hard truth right there. Like, there's no way I'm gonna see a girl like at a restaurant and she's dressed appropriately and she's not, being a proponent of bad behavior. She doesn't have all these bad propensities for bad behavior. I'm not gonna objectify her because she's not objectifying herself. So there's no way. There's no way it's gonna happen. All right. Like it's the same thing where it's like a person can't call me homeless if I'm not homeless. If I'm actually homeless, then the person's gonna say I'm homeless. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. So the thing with social media with female streamers, there are some female streamers who are actually monetizing their content, but they're not objectifying themselves for the most part. At least to my belief. I could be totally wrong about that, to be honest with you. I don't watch female streamers. You see, like, I have to practice what I preach. I'm not going online.
It's a waste of time, bro.
Watching girls who are objectifying themselves. Like, even if it's just watching them play a video game, this is just me. I don't do that. Like Chris is saying, like, it's not a great investment of our time. It's just not. And it doesn't make you more competent as a man. It just doesn't. Like, you gentlemen, you have to use your time wisely. All right, like, as I said before, women wait at the finish line for the winners. They don't care about the struggles. They don't care about the race itself. They care about who crosses the finish line so they can get with the winners. It's how it is. It's how it is. So if you're not going to put in the work, you're not going to put in the time of day to improve yourself, to be competent women, they won't choose you. And I always say to you gentlemen, choose women who choose you. All right? So I hope that answers your question, Dr. Cervantes. Great question. But like I said, it's in general. It's definitely in general, for me at least. This one's going to be a little bit more empirical. All right? there are definitely women who will objectify themselves. And this is kind of funny because with the whole feminism thing, and I know Julie and I spoke about this back in the day, but women literally fought for the right to basically be promiscuous whenever they wanted to. That's what basically a part of the sexual liberation and all that stuff is. Basically the part of it was the right to just be promiscuous. You know, and I have my own thoughts on that. I think that was not a great idea, but look where we all turned out because of that, right? Mm-hmm. Part of it. So good question on there. But the study I kind of wanted to pull up here is, it was one of the studies, Chris. I think it had to do with unattractiveness. Let's look at the tabs here.
It's more attractive?
I think, no, it's the second one. Do women get bored faster? No. So here's the thing, gentlemen, okay? I brought this one up simply because I think this is going to be a little bit more important with just understanding women in general. Like, you got to understand that. I was going to bring this up in a future video, but we'll see how this goes. But just understand, just to highlight a few things, and we don't have to go through the whole study, literally just this first page. You got to understand that men want sex. This is for the ladies too. We produce 40 times more testosterone. Our sex drive is innately higher, all right? Because of that, men are more innately interested in sex. So if we kind of just look at the things I've highlighted here, you can just kind of see just the results. Just look at the results. You can look at the participants here and such. There are over 4,000 men who are in the study, and over 6,000 between the ages of 16 and 17 years. My God, it was a big study, who reported greater or equal to 1 year, okay, with their sexual partner of the opposite sex or same sex in the past year for the 3rd National Survey of Sexual Attitudes and Lifestyles. Okay, that's the conglomeration of that one. And just looking at the results here, overall, 15% of men and 34.2% of women reported lacking interest in sex. Women are not as interested in sex as men are. As I stated in our previous videos, women want a plethora of experience, men want a plethora of women. And there's going to be an interesting topic. I'm going to bring this up in one of our points here. But just kind of understand, gentlemen, like, women, they just don't want to do that. They're not going to invest in having intimacy with a man if she doesn't feel that he is her best option. You are the guy, the one who is, I'm the leader, I'm this and that, and she doesn't feel aroused. Men, it's your job to make her feel aroused by you, but you got to know how to do that. I think she first has to feel attracted to you, and then you could start working your arousals on that. Attraction and arousal are not the same thing. Okay, what women are attracted to are different to what they're aroused by. All right? We can go over that in some other parts. But yeah, and this is just kind of coming into other things, the ones that Chris is hovering over. And some gender similarities and associated relationships and family-related factors were evident, including partners having had sexual difficulties in the last year. Men, 1.41, okay, compared to women 1.60, not feeling emotionally close to the partner during sex. So women innately, if there's no excitement from them, they're not going to really feel that interested by default. We know that that's kind of obvious, right? Moving forward, we can see that women, the ease of talking them into sex is not going to be of interest in them as well. It's more for us, innately. This is just in general now, based off the study. It's easier for a woman to talk us into sex versus a man talking her into having sex. Much easier, much easier, because we want it. The other thing here, just to kind of wrap this up, I'm not going to redo the whole thing, but kind of coming in, among women, only lack of interest in sex was higher among those in relationship of greater than 1 year in duration, and those not sharing the same level of interest. All right? So
after 1 year, that's it?
Pretty much. But above with other parts greater than or equal to 1 year and things like that, right? But yeah, this is just a highlight. Again, I've said this isn't the first time I brought this up. I brought this up in like either the second video or third video, or maybe I think with one of our guests, that women are just generally not that interested in sex compared to men. Women want sex too. I know that sounds a bit contradictory what I just said, but the point is, they're only gonna really want to have sex if the man brings value and brings excitement into their lives. But in general, they're not going out trying to have sex with men. They're not doing that because they understand if they're feminine enough, they're gonna know that their purity matters to men. So the feminine ones who know what they're doing, they're going to keep their purity for the right one. But men, We want to have sex. So that's why you see all these numbers. It doesn't stagnate. It correlates. It correlates to the biology of men. We've been this way for the longest time, and women in general have been like that also. Nothing wrong with that. Again, it's building competency. So we're done with this one here. Very, very good. And we talked about the thirst trapping and such. So great stuff, guys. We're looking pretty good so far. I just want to check in what's going on with the comments here. Very, very good. Nothing so far. So coming in now to our next point. So 2 points. We started off relatively strong. What do you think, Chris? We started off strong here?
I guess so.
Yeah, we some cold hard facts here and some just gotta give it to them straight. You know, I gotta give it to you guys straight. I love you guys to death. I want men to succeed. I want women to succeed. But you guys gotta know what you're doing here to a certain degree. All right. But kind of moving on to our third point here, gentlemen. Stop telling women that you're busy when you're really not. Stop telling women that you're busy when you're really not. Stop thinking women are just not going to figure it out. Women know when you're not really about what you're saying, all right? Even just through conversation, they can easily go on through your social media and kind of see what your lifestyle is. I remember I was talking to a lender who I was working with not too long ago, and I'll never forget this saying that he told me. The entrepreneurs, the ones who are really making it in the world, for the most part, they barely post on social media. Barely. And if they do post on social media, it's because they probably accomplished something or they're enjoying the fruits of their labor. But the ones who constantly post over and over and over again, like we're talking about like 5-10 posts a day, and then same thing next day nonstop with just super random things, they're not that busy. They are not that busy. All right? This is more empirical. Okay, just my own thoughts on that one, but they're not that busy. They're really not. Okay, they're not really making big moves for the most part. So when and on top of that, if you're telling women like what you do for a living and your hobbies and things like that, and she knows, she's gonna know right off rip. Okay, he's doing stuff, but he's not a super duper busy guy. He's not that busy. So when men play this little game of, okay, I'll text her, but I won't text her back until maybe the next day or in 10 hours, somewhere around there. Now this is probably like after the first date or second date, somewhere around there, where you're kind of feeling the room out, seeing where you are with this girl. But if you think that you're selling potential by faking your status, and this is why I'm so against the fake it till you make it vibe. Girls will know when you're not telling the truth about your work. They're gonna know when you're just faking it till you make it, with the status part at least, with you being occupied, you being busy. Because she can just, the moment you tell her what you do for work, women Google.
Oh yeah.
They Google your professions to see how much money you're making and how much time you have to invest into the work.
Yep.
They do that. You think they're not gonna do their research on you? They will. They will. And you're the one who's going to be disappointed because she figured you out. She figured you out. And if she knows that you're just sitting at home playing video games, not reading books, not educating yourself, you're not out dealing with people in networking events, you're not learning new skills, you're not even learning like a martial arts or something around there, or like running important errands, she's going to know. She's going to know off rip. And she might even call you out on it. And I think that's the worst part, Chris. I think that's the worst part. If a woman calls you out, stop taking forever to text her. I know you're not busy. It's game over. It's game over right there. She caught you, bro. She caught you. She knows you're not busy. She knows you're playing this game where you're trying to act like you're high status and you're trying to act like she needs to compete for your attention. She knows. Nope. She knows. She knows you got nothing rolling. She's not working for anything. She's not missing out on anything. Hence, she's gonna spin more plates, and you probably don't even know about it. So that's something else I need to bring up. Like, stop pretending that you're busy. All right. And the other thing here, kind of adding on, is when you guys are on a date, don't tell women everything you do. Don't tell them everything. They're going to ask, like the golden question one of the very first questions women will ask, they will ask this. And I know there are going to be some people, oh, but like we shouldn't talk about work and that. They will. They will. This is also innate with female hypergamy. It correlates with this. They want to know what you do for a living, so they know if they need to invest, if they can invest in you or not. They're going to ask you. So, and even entrepreneurs and millionaires, the ones who kind of know what they're doing, they're not going to flat out tell girls what they do. They're not going to do that. They're going to say, oh, well, I deal with some people. I work when it comes to selling cars, or I'm working on a little business here and there. But don't tell her what the business is. Like, let's say, like, if I'm running like an entrepreneurship, and let's say I have a brokerage, I'll just tell her, oh, I do a little bit of real estate here and there. Or if I'm an instructor, or maybe if I own something, like I'm the owner of a Krav Maga school or a car business, don't tell her that you own the place. Don't tell her that you are the teacher, you're the leader, you're like one of the managers, things like that. Be mysterious. Because when you tell her everything right off rip, she's already investing in some way. I get that you want women to invest in you, but again, this goes back to, remember this one? Women like to feel all the colors of the rainbow. Excitement will always be the color on top of the rainbow. They want to feel excitement. They want to feel that they're lucky, that they're like the luckiest girl in the world to have a guy like you. But when you take that away from her, when you're robbing those colors from her, guess what happens? Remember what the one color that they don't like to feel?
Boredom.
Boredom, okay? Not to say that she's going to be bored once she finds out everything, but the fact that you're too predictable. Women don't like predictability. I always say, mystery brings excitement, predictability brings boredom. I'm going to say that one more time so it really sinks in. Mystery brings excitement, predictability creates boredom. When she has figured you out, and she has nothing to work with, no research, no like trying to figure you out, and so what does this guy do? Well, like I don't know what he's doing, and you're not keeping her on her toes, she's not going to invest in you because she's not working for anything. She's flat out not working for anything. Let her actually find out. Let's say like you know Krav Maga. Don't tell her that you know Krav Maga or some fighting style. Like let her actually find out for herself. Like let's say one day, like a guy robs her purse, and then you jump on the dude, and you're about to like kill this dude from a Krav Maga because it's pressure points and like lethal moves and things like that. She's gonna be like, "What the hell was that?" That's gonna be her reaction. What the hell was that? And boy, let me tell you, that color at the very top, excitement, the arousal. Ooh, she's gonna feel that like, damn, we're gonna go Farouk now from WWE. Damn, oh my goodness, that's my man. That is my man. And she's never gonna want to let you go. Because now she's going to be like, okay, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. Oh my goodness, what else did I not know about this guy? And let's say she walks up to you or goes up to your workplace. She doesn't know that you own the brokerage. She doesn't know that. So what's going to give you giant brownie points and a whole bunch of status, because again, social proof. Women want and they need social proof from the man, not the other way around. If she sees you and everyone's calling you, hey boss, hey this, or what are we gonna do with this? And you're leading, you're directing, and especially when women are listening to you and they're kind of looking at you in some way because again, status matters to them. Come on. The girl is going to be even more attracted to you, even more. Because now the mystery kicked in. Like, I did not know that. You didn't tell me that you own this place. Oh, yeah. You know, I did say I do real estate. That guy knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's making it a challenge for her and making her do some work to really see if this guy is, like, worth it for her. That's what we should be doing. But when you're just giving it all to her, you're not giving her a challenge, you're not giving her nothing to work with, it's not special to her. It's not a prize. You're not looking like you're some prize to her off rip, even though chances are, because if you are already high value, she's already considered you a prize, but the fact that you're not emotionally stimulating her, even men who are high value, even if they show no excitement and predictability, there are still women who leave them because, again, like, it's women want to feel all the colors of the rainbow. Even high value men screw up on this sometimes. Even them. And you'll hear stories from girls like, he was kind of boring. I didn't feel excited about him. Yeah, they mess up too. They mess up too. Above average men mess up on this too because they just don't get it. That you have to understand the psychology of women, all right? We're going to get into that probably in a future episode, but you guys have to understand. You have to understand, in order for women to stay with men, you have to keep them emotionally engaged. You have to keep them emotionally aroused. They have to feel excited to always be with you. It's the truth. They have to feel lucky. Like, wow, I'm so lucky with this guy. Like, my God, I'm so glad I'm with this person. And she has to just be happy to be around you. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I can give 10,000 different examples on this. 10,000, even more. But you get the point. You guys get the entire point on this premise, all right? Be the guy who she sees as the leader, the one who she can't wait to come home to, not have FOMO behaviors, trying to look for other options, and she's stepping out of her femininity with you and building masculine traits, trying to get male attention and validation in other places. You are messing up as the man. You are not doing what you're supposed to be doing to keep her emotionally engaged with you. It's the truth. It's just the truth. It's on you guys. It's not the women's fault. It's the man's fault. It's the man's fault entirely for you not understanding female hypergamy, for you not understanding the psychology, the innate actions, the propensities, and just evolutionary psychology. It doesn't change. It just doesn't change. We're not going to evolve out of that. We are just not going to evolve out of that. If it hasn't changed since the big, not even the Big Bang, but 4.7 billion years ago with mammals and creatures and things like that, it doesn't change. It's not going to change. Just technology is going to change. Our way of living is going to change. Environments are going to change. Behaviorisms are going to change. Cognitive revolutions, things like that. But innately, what we want, biologically, hardwired, that does not change. It doesn't change. If it hasn't changed now, it's probably not going to change. At least not for a very long time from now. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, understand that. Understand that. All right? So that's good. That's good. We're off to a good start here. Not even, we're like about halfway now. So we understand pretty much just what's going on and such. And don't tell women that you're busy when you're really not. All right? So very, very good. Being very mysterious. Going on to the next point here, all right? We're moving on forward to point number 4. Stop spending so much time with women. Stop spending so much time with them, okay? Like, I get it. And here's kind of the thing, too. Like, I get that men, and I'm a victim of this, too. I was the white knight. I was the white knight who is like, no, I want to be super chivalrous. I want to give all the attention, all the love, everything, all my time to the girl who I think at the time, based off whatever I thought was good mate selecting strategies, to be the one who's going to be the mother of my children, all right? Boy, was I wrong on so many occasions on that one, okay? And again, it's a lesson to be learned, and we'll go over some of those points as well, right? But we pulled up this study here. Okay, Chris, you want to pull up this study about this one with the male testosterone going down?
Yeah, it's this one right here, right?
And boy, like, I'm going to give it to you straight, Chris. Like, this study in particular,
yeah.
A study's a study, no matter what. Statistics are statistics. The what is the what is. And the what is here is men generally, from the study. This is, how old is this study actually? Can you scroll to see the year?
Let's see. 2003. So, okay, it's a relatively old study, but it hasn't changed, especially with the dating market now. I guarantee you this, we probably have even lower testosterone now because of that. Probably more. It says 21 now, but this is, again, a study back in 2003. With everything that's going on, probably more. And underreported. I guarantee you it's underreported, all right? But basically, just the abstract, and we don't even have to go so far with this, right?
we're looking at 122 male Harvard Business School students who filled out this questionnaire. And then we took the saliva sample so we could check out the enzymes and the reactors, things like that for the body that go in with T levels, right? And the results revealed that men in committed romantic relationships had 21% lower testosterone levels than men who were not involved in such relationships. All right? Testosterone levels of married men and unmarried men who were involved in committed romantic relationships did not differ, suggesting that at least this sample, male pair bonding status is the more significant predictor of testosterone levels than in marital status. All right? So, and we're not going to go all the way down. And if you guys want to look this up, this is on our Discord, and the link is on here as well if you ever want to pause the video. And the DOI is on top there, highlighted in blue, so it gives you everything, even though we're on the DOI right now. But as I mentioned before, and this is with like even married couples and just committed couples, this is what happens, all right? And I hate to say it, I really, really do, all right? But just based off this, and I'm very sure there are more studies, and this study has references. There are other references citing, okay, that are coinciding with what goes on with male T levels, testosterone levels, all right? It's not ideal. It's just not ideal. And we've already stated in a previous study, women want masculine men. They don't want beta-tized men. They don't want to have a man who just got feminized, who got beta-tized, who's listening to them too much, being this yes man, and they're basically thrown off their mission. I've always said, even in a previous video, okay, women want to see a spark in the man's eye or eyes, okay? But women don't want to be that sparkle. They don't want to be that sparkle, meaning they don't want to be pedestalized. They don't want you being astray from your mission. They don't want you being distracted, because they know at the very end of the day, if you're benefiting from your mission, guess what? They are benefiting also. They're not benefiting long-term when you're distracted, when you're giving them too much attention, when you're around them all the time. They're not benefiting. They're just not. They're not. And here's a little bit of a gripe for me. I'm somewhat jaded about this, to be honest with you. But you're going to hear girls, some girls, not all, well, they'll say things like that. This is where I kind of come off with empiricals, right? And they'll say, if you ask them, I'll ask any girl, do you think men should stop what they're doing, stop focusing on their work so much, their grind, to give you attention and time? You'd be surprised if I word it just like that to most girls, they're going to say no. Yeah. They're going to say no. If I word it somewhat like that, verbatimly, they're going to say no. Now, you're going to, like, the younger ones, even, like, the ones who just don't know better, it doesn't matter how old they are, the ones who just don't know better, the ones who don't get it, they're going to say, no, I do want my man to give me some attention, blah, blah, blah. I do want him to spend time with me. It's like, okay, but if I emphasize it more, if he's at home all the time with you, and he's not focusing on himself, he's not benefiting off anything, you feel like he's submitting to your whim, you're not attracted to that. And those 10%, 15%, maybe even 20% of the men that women constantly fight tooth and nail for, they're on their mission. They're the ones who focus. They're the ones who are not astraying themselves from their goals and their lifestyles. Like, they still hang out with their friends. I made this mistake. I'll be honest with you. I made this mistake where I stopped hanging out with my friends, even though it was like COVID times, but I stopped hanging out with my friends because I had a girlfriend. Not a good move. Not a good move at all. Mm-hmm. You need to stay with your pack. You need to stay with your group, especially if they're ones who are like kind of pushing you to become a better person. You can't dismiss them because your status has changed from single to in an LTR, long-term relationship, married, courtship, divorce. Like, no matter the status, that should never, ever change, no matter what. And I've even stated this when we had this video with Julie. Men should have their girlfriends or spouses or future courtships with their friends, especially if they're good influences and they're hanging around other girls who have good statuses with their men, who know how to be submissive with their men, to respect their men. Because perpetually, because women by nature are very impressionable, they're going to see the patterns. They're going to see, like, oh, look at all these, look at the girls who he hangs out with, and the guys, like, the girls are treating their men very good, they respect them, and they're very submissive with them, they listen to them. what do you think she's going to do? She's going to indoctrinate those behaviors. And this helps when they have like good father figures too, like we talked about, of course, right? So those are good points to bring up and stuff. So you guys make yourself scarce, all right? And this is kind of an add-on to the previous one. When you're not busy, you tend to just loaf around. You really just tend to loaf around. Women don't like that. That is not. I'm gonna say that is not an attraction point, and they're not aroused by that. You're not turning them on when they see you sitting around on a couch playing video games all day, even doing drugs, and which I'm going to get to in a future video with the drugs, but it's like they're not turned on by that. They're just not turned on by that. And again, like women will just, though, if their market value is low, they're going to work with what they can get, and they're going to tolerate with what they have. It's just, that's how it is. That's just how it is. Women will be hypergamous to a certain degree if they can. But women's hypergamy strategies change as they age. As I mentioned to Julia and even to Adonis, like, women are gonna have more value when they're younger, and they're gonna have less value when they're older. Women have more negotiation power when they're younger, not as much when they're older. It's just the way it is. So their hypergamous nature has to switch. So they're gonna go for the alphas when they're young, the ones who are super high value if they can, with the competition, of course. But when they're older, not so much. They go for more of the beta qualities. They go for more of the nurturing, the protection, and the more loyal guys, right? The loyal ones who most of them end up leaving anyway. Thanks to that study, we've shown, 3 times now at this point, that women have 50% backup partners, and we know that divorces happen 50% of the time with marriages, and 80% happen with women, and 90% of the college educated. Yeah. Like, what more do you want? Seriously, what more do you guys need? Like, what more proof? What more statistics do you guys need at this point for us to cover that it just doesn't work? Like, it just flat out doesn't work. There's too much science and too many surveys and questionnaires, some underreported, but come on. And just evolutionary psychology alone explains this. Just that alone explains that. And this is kind of coming off to what I was saying before about not hanging out with your friends. Women are attracted to men who are disciplined with their habits. All right? That means if I don't have my protein bottle here with me, I drank it a little before the stream, but if a woman sees me that I go to the gym, I work with real estate, I work with my broker, I work with some other people with networking, I have this stream, I read my books, and she sees that I am not willing to bend to her whim, change my habits, because she wants to, stop reading books, spend time with me, stop the protein shakes, let's go out and eat trash foods, let's go have McDonald's, stop going to the gym, let's watch Sex in the City. You really think long term, not even long term, let's just say a week later, I bet you a week later, she's gonna start thinking differently of you.
I'm sure.
Wow, this man stopped it. And she might be like, wow, he's willing to give up the gym and protein shakes and all this stuff. She's going to lose interest in you faster, a whole lot faster, before you get into your next protein shake. I'm attributing that to myself, by the way. So that's, you gotta understand, gentlemen, do not get rid of your habits, okay? That is definitely gonna be your turnoff. It's a slow turnoff. I want to call this a slow turnoff, where it doesn't happen off rip like that. Because if it's like one day where, okay, fine, you decide not to go to the gym, but just that one day, and you've been consistent with everything else, and one day you decide to not have 6 protein shakes, and you had 4 or 5, okay, there's lenience with that one, but just that one day. But then you decide to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the same thing next week. The betatization couldn't be any more real at that point. Women by nature are beta factories. Like, that's just the honest to God truth. Like, women don't even realize. They don't even realize that they're betatizing the guy. That's the most atrocious thing. Like, they don't realize it. But they are. The competency test, in which I've mentioned before, it's accompanied with male betatization. And I've already explained this, I think what was it, Chris, a second video or third video where I talked about how betatization, it just happens. Like, it's gonna happen no matter what. Every man gets betatized. But to a degree, to a certain degree, you might get 10% betatized in the relationship. Maybe 30. But there are men, you know when they're really betatized. Oh, you know. You just know off rip. And I'll bring up a little bonus point here, actually. I think a bonus point, I think Chris, you and I can agree with this. If we're at a friend's gathering, I don't know if we brought this up, a friend's gathering or a family outing, and we're with some friends, maybe some family members, and the man's girlfriend, spouse, or a courtship that he might have, or even a friends with benefits, if we see the woman is acting out and being loud and she's being very aggressive and assertive and the guy is just like there, you know, not, you know, calming her down and not telling her, hey, I need you to stop embarrassing me in front of our friends and family members, you know who runs the relationship.
Oh, it's obvious, bro. It's obvious.
It's not the man who runs the relationship. I'm going to tell you that right now.
And it's not a happy relationship either. For the
not.
guy.
And it's the woman,
for her, too.
It's the woman who's going to break up with the guy. I always make that prediction. I always say that. The woman's going to leave you because she doesn't see you as the leader. She doesn't see you as the giant who she looks up to. She's not looking at you like, okay, this is my man. Like, I am a reflection of him. Women have to understand that you are a reflection of your man. The moment we see bad propensities, bad behavior, and you just kind of don't know your place in the relationship, we know who runs the relationship. We know who the masculine one is, and we know who the feminine one is. And I'll give you a hint. I'm going to give you a hint who the masculine one is. It's not the man. I'm going to give you that clear hint. It's not the man. Men who are in charge of the relationship, okay, when they are leaders, women do not act like that. They do not act all masculine, trying to ensure that their opinions are heard, and being aggressive, being loud, even name-calling, and other men, and this is even worse. It's even worse when other men have to tell her to calm down.
Yeah.
Like, that is not good. That is not good. Like, if I myself had to tell a woman to calm down in front of her man,
It looks really bad.
terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like, this is for all you gentlemen. Like, if a man tells your girl that she has to calm down or start kind of increasing his masculinity a little bit towards her, horrible, 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 horrible. It's not the man who's trying to calm her down or to be more masculine that looks bad. It's you who looks bad. All right? It is you. As the man in the relationship, the fact that you have not instilled good behaviors into her, that is your fault. And I know right then and there, Chris and I know, not just us. It's not just us. Like, we know, men innately know, they just won't say it. They won't say it. They know who is the leader in the relationship and who is the follower. Who is the masculine one and who is the feminine one. They know. And if you've taken too long to get yourself together on that, when it's been years, the moment you try to step up, she's going to give you pushback. She's going to give you a lot of pushback. And best
It's going to fall apart right there in the spot.
No, it's going to fall apart, 100%. It's 100% going to fall apart. Now, and now that we're on this topic, it wasn't one of my main topics. I'll quickly wrap this one up here. But even then, like, and Chris, I don't think we talked about this, but if a man in a relationship, and he didn't vet the person properly, okay, this is just for men in general, this isn't for like specific people or anything like that, but it's like, if I see, or if a man didn't vet a woman properly, and he's already super beta-tized, super duper beta-tized, and he's feminized by the woman, down the road, like let's say year 3, somewhere around there, and the roles have already been kind of placed. Like, we know who the masculine one is, the feminine one, the leader, the follower. We kind of know, they know where they're at innately, and they just won't say it. But the moment the man decides to step up, she will give him pushback. Not only will she give him pushback off rip just like that, she's going to give him this downpour of competency tests. Gentlemen, this is for you. The moment you decide to switch it up, and I guess it's better late than never, I guess.
Yeah.
Be prepared for the competency test she's going to dish out on you. It might go from 1 to 2 per week, maybe in a few weeks. Guess what? Off that stunt you just pulled trying to increase your masculinity on her and to try to put her back into femininity, she is going to give you 10,000 different competency tests. She wants to see if you are the real deal. Like, wow, so this man finally wants to be masculine. All right, let's see if this is the real deal. Let me try to order him around. Let me see if he says something. Let me go out late at night with the girls to a club. Let me see what he says. Let me go back to my addictions, see if he says something. Let me have guy friends. Let me see if he says something. She's going to throw a bunch of tests on you. And it's not fun. It's not fun. The competency test, to a degree, is necessary because it's a security measure for women, okay? But at that point, it's not fun. It's not going to be fun for you gentlemen, all right? Be prepared for the influx of competency tests that come in. But that's your fault. You set yourself up for that, all right?
Yeah.
But there is hope for that. But if you're...
I don't think there's hope.
I always say there's hope only because if the woman is... You shouldn't...
It's gonna...
You shouldn't have to put a woman in her femininity. You shouldn't. She should already be feminine. If you as the man fail to do that, that's on you. That's totally on you.
I think it's too late at that point. To be honest with you.
If she doesn't stay in her feminine, or I'm sorry, not stay, but just go into her feminine when you decide to step up, gentlemen, this is for you. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
It's just time to move on. Cut your losses. Cut your losses early. There's nothing wrong with that. Have some goddamn dignity for yourselves. Cut your losses early, or I mean, again, it's better late than never, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
But cut your losses and move on. Okay, just move on from there, and then we'll.
I mean, you can try,
Yeah.
see where it goes, but
It often doesn't.
it's better to move on than to live like in misery.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Definitely is. So that's for you guys. I threw in that little bonus for you guys. Okay, the unplugging has thrown that bonus in for you guys. It wasn't one of the main topics, but gentlemen, please be in your masculine roles, and women, please be in your feminine roles. I've already stated in one of my other videos, there's nothing that gets me going about a woman. I can daydream about this too. It looks like I'm daydreaming right now, right? Nothing pleases me more when a woman is in her feminine. Nothing. But the moment I see her not being feminine, I'm walking out the door. I'm leaving the table. I'm not going to give this woman the time of day. Not going to give her the time of day. That's the truth. And you gentlemen should do the same exact thing. Why? The woman who gives the man peace gets the ring. Remember that. We've already spoken a lot about different topics here, but remember this one. And this is for you ladies as well. If you are able to give the man peace, you have a very high chance of getting the ring. If you're not his peace, if you are just his headache, his migraine, a pain, a thorn on his side, you're not getting the ring. You're not getting the ring. What you're going to get is, if he thinks that intimacy is good enough for him to just stay around, or he just thinks you're good company, that's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get. He's not going to commit to you, and you're going to wonder. Years go on by. You're going to ask him. You're the one who's going to ask him. It's not him. It's you who's going to ask him. Have you thought about marriage? Have you thought about having kids? He's going to look at you like you have 10 heads. Mm-hmm. He's going to fabricate some sort of lie or anything like that and just say, not really. It's kind of early for that. 5 years, 6 years? 5 or 6 years? And he's going to tell you something like that. I guarantee he's going to say something like that. He's going to say something like that, or he's going to say, oh, not really. Can we talk about this later? Like, he's going to find a way to deteriorate and dismiss himself from the conversation. And women, this is how you know men aren't really serious about you. All right? So that wasn't even part of it. I was going to throw that in a future video, but I might still bring it up next time. But this is for the ladies now, okay? Know when a guy is really taking you serious. Okay? Okay? Come on now. So very good. Very good. The other thing I kind of want to bring up here, and I think this is where we start. This is where we start ruffling some feathers here. Can we pull up the study on astrology?
Astrology?
The fourth one, even the stars thing. Yeah.
So going there?
Yeah, we're going there. We're going there. And you know what? I'm totally fine with that.
Okay.
I'm totally fine with that because again, the purpose of this podcast, gentlemen and ladies, okay, we're trying to help you guys out in the best way possible. All right. But in order for us to help you out, okay, we cannot sugarcoat, we cannot tell you lies. We cannot tell you things that make you feel good, make you this and that. This is a database. The whole podcast is a database on how you can use this information and go on from there. But the next following point, okay, is I highly recommend, and this is just me going off my own experience, more anecdotally, but we're also talking science here as well. You know, I'm okay with zodiac signs and the stars, astrology, like the energies of the planets when they're aligned a certain way. That's all cool, I guess.
For you.
It's cool, you know? Like if someone tells you, oh, like you're gonna have this and that, it's like, okay, cool. But don't get too serious about that. That's my thing. Like the fortune telling things and the balls and things like that, like that's cool. That's totally cool. And I've done it a few times, okay? Like if there's one thing I'm gonna tell you guys for sure is that I'm not gonna lie to you guys about my own experiences. Like, look, this stuff is cool. It's great, you know? Like there are times where I might take in a little bit of it and I might apply it a little bit to a certain degree, but I'm not gonna let it run my life. You know, there are times where I take the information given to me when it comes to astrology or card readings and things like that. Those are cool. But I always say, okay, this is great, but you know, I still have to build. I still have to make a decision here and say, look, the reading is great. However, I have to do what I believe is best. What I have to believe is best. It might be outside of the reading, but I have to do what's best. Okay, and this is going to be outside of the reading. So just giving you guys that heads up. Okay, this is cool stuff, but don't get too serious about it. Okay. Now coming on outside of empiricals and outside of anecdotes. Okay, we're coming into some more of the research. This might be a little tough for some of you to hear. Okay, but again, we gotta go with the what is, statistics, and some objective stuff here, okay? Looking at this, even the stars think that I'm superior. Personality, intelligence, and belief in astrology. Looking at only the highlights, okay? And this one, how old is this one? This one is there a year here?
I don't think so.
2022. Okay, so 2022, fairly recent.
Where do you see that?
At the top, the blue, where it says personality, yeah, you see parentheses?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a phone number or something.
2022 and then a whole bunch of other digits.
Yeah.
So this is a fairly recent study. It's not old. It's 2 years. Like it's fairly recent, and I'm pretty sure there are other researchers that kind of come onto this because they're all the references. Now coming in here, we can see just the highlights. The data was collected for 264 participants through an anonymous online survey shared on social media. Great, fun stuff, right? Now, just kind of looking off this, if we're looking at not just the highlights, but the survey consisted of 4 instruments, all right? And this comes with the belief in astrology, one factor, the big 5 in personality traits, which I've already mentioned, conscientiousness, okay, neuroticism, and there are 3 others. I think a little bit more on socialism from the female side. That's one of the three that I mentioned from the big 5. And I can't remember the other ones, but those 3 are definitely from the big 5 personality traits and such, which heavily benefit women and things like that. Except the neuroticism part. That's just a thing that happens with them. But kind of going on here, right? A narcissism and intelligence were big measurements here. Okay, we're looking at the 2 big measurements here from the last part. And data analysis was done with multiple linear regression. And what is highlighted here? Narcissism was surprisingly the strongest predictor, and intelligence showed a negative relationship with belief in astrology. So this isn't me making something out of my head, all right? This is what the research is saying. When people in general, from what the research is saying, okay, who are into astrology like heavily, they are more prone to be more narcissistic, and tend to show more of a negative relationship, because we can attribute this to oh, the waters are moving a certain way, the planets are aligned, or the stars are this way, so my behavior is this way. And people, and I'm gonna go with women because women tend to kind of believe in this a lot more actually. They tend to use astrology, zodiac signs, and card readings and a whole bunch of things to excuse themselves from bad behavior. That's what they tend to use that for. So if a woman comes up to me and she's misbehaving with me and she says something like, oh, well,
I'm a Cancer.
I'm a Cancer.
Libra,
it's a
Gemini.
windy day, or
Oh,
the planets are misaligned certain way, so therefore my behavior is like this. Gentlemen, no, absolutely not.
Bullshit.
Absolutely not. There is no excuse, absolutely no excuse for bad behavior. I don't care if your mom yelled at you, or Jupiter fell out of orbit somewhere, or the gravitational pull from the sun went off, so now the planets are misaligning, things like that. I don't care. I flat out don't care. There is no excuse for bad behavior in no particular way. And as I stated before in a previous video, the problem with both men and women, okay, is that the problem on the man's side is that men are scared. They really are. They're scared to hold women to a standard. They're afraid to put their foot down and say, listen, enough. You are not behaving this way. You need to show her that whatever happens, you are not afraid to walk away from her. Women need to feel that you are not a person who's going to take nonsense. Because guess what? Women tend to behave better when they have to work for something and when they need something. And this isn't even just women, this is just people in general. Like, if I'm going for a job and my employer tells me in order for me to get this position, I have to behave a certain way, I have to be prudent, I have to perform a certain amount of work, my behavior is going to change cognitively to behave a certain way so I can get that position. Okay, this is no different. I'm behaving and perpetuating a behavior so I can get what I want. This is the same exact thing, same scenario. So kind of just moving on with that, okay, like that was an interesting one. And another thing too, it doesn't say here, but if we kind of look lower on this one, you don't have to do that, Chris, but intelligence, okay, like they tend to, it says somewhere around there where they tend to have lower IQ when they have this huge belief when it comes to astrology, right? The narcissism and the relationship negative impact, but also just having lower IQ is also something that's not favorable, okay? Now, IQ, of course, look at all the references we have here. You know, look at this one. What makes some people think astrology is scientific? Another one, the generality of belief in unsubstantiated claims. There's a bunch. There's a whole bunch. Like, you guys got to understand also when these studies are made, they go through a process of approval. These aren't just thrown online. Like, these go through a process to get approved by a board, a scientific board, to make sure the procedures are good, the methods are good, the participants are eligible to take these studies, you know? And kind of, you're hovering over this one. Yeah. I didn't highlight this one because I didn't want to go too far into this one, but if we kind of look at this one here, let's kind of look at that. Belief in astrology regress on Big Five: narcissism, intelligence, gender, age, and scientific support. Right? So kind of just looking at, where's the intelligence part? Okay, so look at that, negative 0.45.
But which one is the gender 1 and gender 2?
So the total participants, 264. Bold standardized estimates indicate significance. Gender 1, female, and then 2 is male.
Gender 1, this one? Gender.
So it just shows the B and then the beta for that one. Interesting. I didn't look too far on that one, but it'll show in the instructions on how it is and such. But
okay,
it's affected. It's definitely affected. 264. Yeah, so that's the grand participants. So usually studies, if there's about 300 participants, depending on how small a population is within the demographics, 300 is enough, or close to 300 is enough.
I mean, it's good enough. It's a good enough size.
Yeah, but if we're talking like a huge demographics that we're involving like the whole United States, 3,000. 3,000 is like the number you should go for if you're getting a grand demographics, so that way you can start getting everything going. But yes, on this part, we didn't touch upon this one too much because the abstract pretty much just said everything. And again, you guys within your own agency, within your own due diligence, you can look up these studies and kind of just go on from there, you know?
All right.
But the p-values, anything that's below 0.05 and such, greater than 0.05 shows significance. All right, that's when it comes to p-values and ANOVA studies. So that's good. That's good on that. We can kind of drop that and such. So very, very good. Here's point number 5 here. Okay, point number 5. We're doing really good. We're doing really, really good here. So thank you guys again for joining our podcast episode. It's such a lot of information. Lots of information here. So moving on to number 5 here, we're kind of going to steamroll. Oh yeah, here's another big one. My God, my goodness. The thing is, we've already talked about betaization. I'm gonna go through this one kind of fast here, but another one that really grinds my gears, and men, gentlemen, please, and women too, like, stop. I think this one's more for women. Stop telling men that they need to be more in their feminine and they need to show their emotions more. Stop doing that. And again, this is mainly for men, but like, stop letting women convince you that. Like, where is this? First off, where does this even come from? Like, then we've pulled up the study already that women are naturally more attracted to masculine men. Like, it defeats the whole purpose of that. Like, masculine men aren't doing that. They're not showing their emotions, flipping tables, screaming at you, throwing their hands around, and acting like they're about to hit you. Like, they're not doing that. Masculine men don't do that. Leaders do not do that. True leaders whose EGs, emotional intelligence, are high, do not do that. And I want to make this very clear for the ladies, okay? This is for you ladies, okay? Men in general have higher EQs, especially when they have good father figures and then when they're around other masculine men. They have higher EQs, not because you think that they don't show it, it's because they know how to control it better. That's right, I said it. It's not high emotional intelligence when you're going rampant with your emotions, getting all crazy, throwing tangents, raising your voice, running around, arguing, and the man is being stoic. That's not high EG. A man being stoic shows high EG because he can tell. Here's an example of the difference, okay? The difference here is if I go up to a woman, I'm going to tell her, if I'm upset about something, I'm going to tell her I'm upset. I'm going to say, listen, honey, I'm going to give it to you straight. That was not a good move. I'm actually very, very upset about that. The other way around, what, in general, not all, well, some other women tend to do is they won't say it like that. They'll just lash out. They say, oh my God, how could you do that? That's so stupid. And because they're neurotic, they experience more negative emotion. That's how it is. It's a biological hardwiring. They just experience more rates of unhappiness, more rates of negative emotions. It's how it's always been, all right? So no argument there, definitely no argument. And again, that comes back to competency. You gotta know that women are just naturally neurotic. And me talking to her said that wasn't a good move, but you know what? Let's kind of work on this. Let's move forward. Let's think of some solutions here. I think we should do this, A, B, C, and D, and just move on from there. But when it comes to, in some instances, when it comes to like women on women, when they argue, they tend to be very rough on each other. Like they become spiteful for each other. Like there are times where I've heard stories, even on the internet, like when girls get like really mad at each other and they become very like vengeful of each other. Yeah. They start like trying to ruin their lives, spreading rumors, poking a hole in their car tire, keying their car, and
they're crazy, bro.
And trying to ruin their hairs or tell them that they ain't, the S word, things like that. Like that's how they usually tend to operate like that. Not all of them, of course, but it's, you see what I mean? Like the socialism is different for both men and females. Is it going to be like that all the time? No, absolutely not. But this is for you ladies. Like if you see a man who's giving in to feminine energy and getting into his emotions, guess what you've just done? Guess what you've just done? I'll tell you what you just did. You just beta-tized him. And you've also lowered his masculinity. And now, in turn, as an inverse relationship, because he's losing masculinity and building femininity, you're losing femininity and you're building masculinity. So now you're developing Machiavellianistic traits. Now you're starting to lose your type C and type D personality traits. and you're getting type A and type B while he's gaining the opposite.
And you can lose attraction too.
And guess what? You lose attraction for the guy.
Mm-hmm. And it all goes downhill.
So I just don't get that. I just don't get that. Like the moment I hear, women say that, it's just like, no, because you're just gonna leave the guy. Inevitably, you're going to leave the guy. May not be at the moment, but it's a process. You're gonna start losing it, and then you check out. Women check out. They start to slowly check out. They start dismissing themselves from the relationship. They talk to the guy less. They see him less, and they start hanging out with other guys. And oh yeah, it happens. So women, don't do that. Okay, let men be men, and women be women. I've said that in a previous podcast episode. Like, let men be men. If you see men, and this is with kids too. Like, when you're raising kids, like, if you're gonna go out and let a boy play sports, don't be like all over him, so smothering. Oh, be careful, don't get hurt. No, let him get hurt. Like, if he falls and trips, all right. Like, he's gonna tough it out. Like, he's learning. He's adapting. He's adapting to an environment. It's the cognitive revolution based on behaviorism. Okay, like it's disputed behaviorism, but people are going to adapt, learn, and grow from the environments in which they're placed in. This is the same thing when it came to the Neanderthals, Homo sapiens, and Homo erectuses. Okay, when they had to survive, at least with the Neanderthals, they had to try to survive the best way they can. Building weapons, their skulls and their skin and the calluses. Like, here's a perfect example, but kind of going with the Neanderthals, like them building weapons, them building fur from just ripping it off the animals. Like, they learned how to do that based on their environment that they were placed in. And then coming back to here, if you get callus from your skin because you're generating too much traction and friction, you're gonna build calluses. The skin doesn't build it unless it's put into an environment like that. And the callus is a protective mechanism. So when you start walking on a surface that caused the calluses in the first place, you're not gonna feel like it's hurting anymore, or the skin's gonna be able to withstand all of the traction that's going on in it. That's how it is. That right there is the cognitive revolution. All right, that evolutionary psychology. That's what it is. So I ask you, both men and women, let kids be kids. Like if you're gonna teach them things, don't overly smother them like that. If he falls and trips, he's gonna adapt. If he falls off a bike, he's gonna learn how to ride the bike better so he doesn't fall again for the second time. If he's playing video games and he's learning how to play soccer or like a Street Fighter character, him losing, he's gonna learn the matchup more. I just nerded out a little bit there, but that's how it is. It's the same thing. Same metaphors, same analogy, same exact thing. All right? So that was that there. That was just stop convincing men to do that. Okay, I wanted to wrap that one up there. Point number 6 here. Oh, Lord.
Final point?
Final point.
Okay.
Final point, guys. Final point. Oh, boy. Besides stopping on following women who you don't know through social media, stop watching porn.
Oh, boy.
Stop watching porn. Like, straight up, stop watching it. Like, you can even look up online. Like, Chris, you and I even had a discussion about this. Like, the porn industry is so big. Hey, can we say porn? Okay.
Yeah, we can. Absolutely.
Okay, I could just say corn.
You think YouTube cares about that?
Okay. Well, we'll just...
YouTube doesn't care about porn.
We can say corn. You know, corn is being used, right? So, it's corn. I'll just say corn for now. You know, corn. It makes me laugh when I say porn.
Say porn.
Okay, porn. Okay. So, listen, guys. Like, you know, there's a reason why the porn industry is such a big industry, right? It is almost a $100 billion industry. It is netting $96 billion right now. It makes more than the NBA, the MLB, and the NFL combined.
I think it's the most visited site too. One of the top for sure. Like Pornhub. I'm speaking about Pornhub.
Pornhub, yeah.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, I don't see. Look, here's the thing with like the porn thing, right? Like, it's very big, and people are gonna say that men are like the prime audience, which they are actually. The porn, it's the consumer base for men is over 90%. I think it's 91.6% if we're being accurate. 91.6% of male consumers out of the whole consumer base is male.
Right.
And it's over 60%, like 60.2% of women, right? Yeah, so that's what it is. So I know it's off like what the 100 scale, but 91.5% male, and then for women it's just a little over 60%. So women watch porn also.
Yeah, but not as much.
Not as much, but I will also even say that when women watch porn, I think for the most part, and this is just an empirical on mine, they watch it probably with their significant other. I would think so.
I don't know. I've never done that.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
I don't watch porn, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't do that either. Not anymore, at least. I stopped doing that a long time ago because it's just it's a waste of time. Like, it honestly it is. I stopped watching porn like
waste of energy.
I stopped watching porn like almost 7 or 8 years ago, somewhere around there. Like, that's a long time. That's definitely a long time. I stopped watching that a long time ago. But you see, again, this is my experience. Like, I'm telling you guys, I stopped watching that a long time ago because, again, it's like, why?
Yeah.
So we're doing with that, and the reason why it's so big as well is because, as we talked about, men want a plethora of women, and women want a plethora of experience. And there's this thing in the manosphere where a woman can, by herself, she cannot satiate a man's thirst for sex for a plethora of women, because this is hence why, you know, if it comes to cheating, they just want to step out just to have some strange, you know what I mean?
Right.
Some women, and the hard part about it is too, is that one of the delusions women face nowadays in the market is they want a man who's going to be purely monogamous to them, but he has to make 7 figures, he has to be high status, he has to be experienced, men want to be him, women want him, he has to be tall, chiseled jawline, 1.62 shoulder to waist ratio, so he, you know, the features up here are what women are mostly attracted to based on some studies. Women want them to be everything, and we have a study already showing that. But the delusion,
you know?
yeah, but the delusion comes in when they think that man is going to be monogamous to them. That's where the real delusion comes in. So that's just to kind of throw that in there and such. But kind of just going off that and moving forward with some of the other points. The other problem with porn is that porn doesn't really teach men how to really be intimate with women. It gives them more of, it's the stimulus, but it fabricates what sex really looks like. Yeah. You know, so in their minds, they're going to be like, wow, look at these professionals actually going at it.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're professionals. They probably take Viagra and some drugs.
I'm sure they do. There's no way they can last that long.
Yeah. And then these girls, they're taking contraceptives, oral contraceptives. Wow. So if something happens, you know, there are some cases where women do get pregnant after like a scene, things like that. And then they are bored, and which I'm not a proponent of that. It's like, okay, if you're gonna do that, then just wear condoms, you know, like, but they don't do that. They don't like the feeling of the rubber and things like that, so they excuse themselves. Oh, I'll just go on the pill, whatnot. So that's terrible already. But you gotta understand, like, these are guys who are like, it's a job for them. Like, they're trained to last long. They probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they take like psychology classes in the industry to get them more like calm when they're
they do it a lot. They're on pills. They're all on drugs. They're all drugged up. I saw a good interview with, I don't know if it was Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles, and
Michael Knowles.
Yeah, Michael Knowles and one porn guy that he quit, but he talks about everything in there.
Is he bald?
No, he's not bald. He went full Christian, and I think he speaks in churches now. I wish I can remember. But
church guy now, huh?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. Did he turn into is he a pastor?
No. I don't think
Imagine that, right? Oh my goodness. You gotta practice what you preach, right?
Right.
So, good point. Good point on that one. So, kind of moving forward on that one, like, it's different. So, it's the other points that kind of come into that one as well. Let's go ahead and move on to this study here that I wanted to show. This is kind of what I was telling you, Chris. Like, you know, the 91%, the 60%, here's where it kind of contributes. It's the last one.
This one?
Yep. Oh, wait, no, that's not the one. No, not that one. Not that one.
I got one separate one here somewhere.
Got a separate one there?
Is it this one? Evolutionary psychology? No.
No, not that one. It is porn improves female sexual competency.
All right, I'll bring it up, but meanwhile.
Oh, that's going to shock you guys. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say that again. Well, check this out. Porn improves female sexual competency. All right. Let that sink in for just a moment here while Chris is pulling this one up here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to show you guys some charts here. All right. We're about to kind of wrap things up here with this one point and then with the next point coming up. The next.
All right.
So kind of zooming in here, and I've even made a little note here for myself. So let me see. How long was this study here? This was back in 2023, last year. This is probably one of our most recent studies that we pulled up on this channel now, okay? What is it? Porn use and men's and women's sexual performance. Evidence from a large longitudinal sample, okay? So this is, this was published. We can see the highlight on the left. It was first published in 2022. But still, it's still relatively new. Now looking at the methods here, it's a 3-wave longitudinal study, okay? And we have men and women who are in their early 20s. And look at that, 100,000 plus French-speaking individuals and 4,000 plus heterosexual couples. Oh my God. And plus heterosexual couples. I'm guessing that's included with the 4,000 and such, right? And just kind of going off what we have with the results here. Among men, and we're going to go over some graphs here so you guys can have a better conception of what's going on here. Among men, a higher frequency of porn use, wave 1, and increased porn use over time, waves 1 to 3, were associated with lower levels of sexual competence, impaired sexual functioning, and decreased partner-reported sexual satisfaction. That's men. That's men. Like, so basically, the more porn they consume, the less satisfied they are in general. Jeez. Like, it doesn't help them. It really doesn't help them. So if they're not receiving the same treatment as how these porn stars are having in their videos, it's an over expectation and it ruins it for them. And it's not fair for the woman. It's not fair for her. So she's probably a virgin and she's trying to get some experience with this guy who she really likes and things like that. Hopefully it's the only guy she has experience with, courtship and things like that. And the fact that this guy has these absurd standards because he watched, over-consumed on pornography, he's ruining it for himself and a potentially good woman for him. But in contrast, it's not really the same for women. I didn't believe that. Looking at this point here, where I have the red line kind of colored in with the next point, in contrast, among women, higher and increasing frequencies of porn use were associated with higher levels of sexual self-competence, improved sexual functioning, and enhanced partner-reported sexual satisfaction.
Complete opposite?
The complete opposite. The complete opposite. Women who consume porn will not receive the same adverse effects as men with self-competence, partner satisfaction, and lower levels of sexual competence. Like, they have higher, everything is higher for them. That's insane.
That is nuts. That's
absolutely insane. And then what I have highlighted here, just so it's easier, as I talked about before, guys, like, women cover up to 60.2% of the consumer base on pornography. And just empiricals, the empirical I stated with Chris here is, if they're watching porn by themselves or with their significant other, again, women are impressionable. So once they see something that looks good, enticing, and they get aroused by it, the man is kind of in luck. The man is kind of in luck here. Now, personally for me, just me, off empirically, I wouldn't really want to watch porn with my significant other. I wouldn't want to do that. But
myself, you know.
From what this data is suggesting, it says differently. And we kind of look down here as well, where the graphs are.
Just keep scrolling.
Yeah, we can kind of scroll down here. We're almost done here, and we can not that one. You're gonna see where it's like lines.
This one?
Not there, lines. Like actual, like it's a graph. Actual graph of lines. Yeah. Power. It's like points and like right here. Okay. So we can kind of see here, right? There's two graphs here, but we might only have to just do this one. Actually, no. We'll do this one really quick, and then the other one. I have a note there. So if we look on this one, the sexual self-competence, red being women, and then males with the blue. Just look at this. Like. On the left side, the very left, sexual self-competence. So, of course, it's the male and female knowing kind of what they're doing with intercourse. Look at the red increasing. So, from a woman going from never to very often, if we go all the way to the right on where it says frequency of porn use on sexual self-competence all the way on the left, we can see when they to very often consume porn, their sexual self-competence increases, whereas for men it doesn't. It lowers it significantly. Look at this. Terrible. And then we look over the middle one, sexual functioning, where men just, for them to last.
Yeah, it has to do a lot with like dopamine and stuff like that, you know, and they keep clicking all these videos over and over again, and then when they want to do it with their girl, they just can't, you know.
Yeah, because they're constantly seeing new women. They're constantly seeing new women.
It just doesn't do it for them anymore, you know.
Hence why we talked about, like, it's men want a plethora. They want to see and be with different women. Like it's
porn is just not natural. We're not meant to see like 100 women in 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
It's cyber sex, and cyber sex is what gets the dopamine.
And skipping through the videos and all that shit. You know.
Absolutely. So it's just not good. Like porn consumption is overall not good for men. Like this is what I'm telling you. Stop consuming porn. Okay.
But it's really weird because I didn't know anything about this about women.
Right? And again, I'm not saying that women should watch porn. I definitely wouldn't want to do that. The study suggested that they do watch it. This is what happens. You know what I mean? I agree with the study because again, if we're looking on psychology, like women are impressionable. They're going to be like kind of a chameleon and adapt to what surrounds them, what arouses them, what they feel good and excitement, right? And last thing here, the final one on the right, partner reported sexual satisfaction.
Women say the same.
There kind of is a bit of a decline with women. It's not a significant
decline. It's not that much.
But the fact that the longer they do it, it just kind of shows that there will be somewhat of a decline. It kind of flatlines a little bit here, somewhat, but there's a small decline. But men, no, we're doomed. We're doomed on that one.
It's no good.
And the final one here, if we scroll down to the final graph here before we wrap up, a little note here. It's kind of the same thing. And I wrote here, women gain more sexual competence. I question this one. Women gain more sexual competence with more porn consumption. Then at this point, I'm just making a little joke here. Better to watch porn than to have multiple partners. You know, so instead of going around, thoughting around, and you might as well just do this instead. So at least you keep your purity.
Yeah, keep your body count.
You know, keep your body, well, maybe not the purity, but like keeping the body count low. You know what I mean? Like keep your body count low. If you're, this is for the ladies. Like again, I'm not pushing you to do it, but it's like if you're at least going to do something that's not going to be really good for you and precarious. I think we're looking at this from a secular standpoint. The secular standpoint is, okay, just do this as a prescription.
Right.
But if we're looking at it from, you know, the ecclesiastical standpoint, I believe in the Bible, like watching...
That's not good, yeah.
Yeah, it's considered a sin. So looking at this from both the secular side and the ecclesiastical biblical standpoint, okay, there's different sides to that, but overall, guys, stop watching porn. Stop watching porn. And on top of that, this is it to kind of wrap up here. You know, men tend to have social psychological problems innately. I mean, there's more stuff on here, but men in general, when men consume porn, they tend to become more introverted and they tend to dismiss themselves from social gatherings because they can't get enough of the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And it leads to more masturbation. It leads to more of them just going for self-pleasure and things like that because they already have the hit in their heads. So it's like, oh, I gotta get my hit on and things like that.
I also looked up something where it's like very similar to taking cocaine.
Yeah.
With the dopamine levels and stuff like that in the head. It's really bad for you.
And then, and on top of that, if we're talking about like more of the educational side as well, they tend to drop out of school more. They drop out of school more. They tend to not be as engaged with activities because of this.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah, it explains a whole lot. And these are guys that often suffer depression. They go through depression more when they go through this. Definitely. You know, they become more, and these are men become more controlling. Men tend to become more controlling in relationships when they consume porn.
They get emotional.
Yep, they start to give into urges. That's what happens. They give into their urges a little bit more. They tend to have more anxiety. They tend to be more narcissistic. They have lower self-esteem, and it's just a very bad rewiring to their brains when they're taking all these hits and such. But that's pretty much it, gentlemen and ladies. So these are the 6 things here. Okay, these are the 6 things. Part 1, things men need to stop doing in order to be better in the sexual market. We've gone through a lot of information here, actually. A whole bunch of information. I've added some little nuggets here as well. And listen, again, gentlemen, you choose. You choose. If you guys want to perpetuate bad behavior, you're going to pay for it. You're definitely going to pay for it. If you're going to perpetuate good behavior and standards and put your foot down and not let women disrespect you and you just know what you shouldn't be doing in general, take heed on that. Again, this is part 1. Part 2 will definitely be maybe a little bit more on like stopping drugs and things like that. So we'll get to that. Don't you worry. We might make a video on the female side now, what they should probably stop doing as well. So be on tune with that one. Really quick before we let you guys go here. Next week, I will be out of town for a sports nutrition conference. I think I'll talk to my business partner to see if maybe we can
record a video and not have it live, and then just premiere it on Tuesday or Thursday.
We could do that. Yeah, we could definitely do that. So we'll probably do a
record it
that part
earlier.
But stay tuned for episode number 7 coming in. Well, this is 7, right?
Yes.
That's 7. Episode number 8 coming in on Thursday. And this is pretty much it, guys. Again, these are the 6 things, okay? 6 things for men to stop doing in order to improve themselves in the sexual marketplace. I hope this helps, guys. You can always reach out to us on Instagram, IG, Facebook, Discord, anywhere. All right, we'll be available to give you guys some more hints and things to kind of move through the marketplace. But this is pretty much it. I'm your host, Leo, and then we have my business partner, Chris, kind of helping us out with the audio and the mic and everything. He's been amazing with everything. We'll keep increasing the quality for you guys as best as we possibly can. This is the Unplugging, signing out.